This is Pod Populi,
podcast for the people.
If you haven't checked out how to lead workshops, market yourself effectively, and grow your business, we have two really special events happening. One is our marketing and live events bootcamp in LA, happening in January 2025. Check out the show notes for the link and a special discount code, and my workshops to clients methodology, where you can learn how to lead mini trainings and workshops online to get awesome clients that pay you more money. So on to the show. Welcome to the Om All Day podcast, where I get to interview amazing wellness entrepreneurs who are making a difference in the world. My name is Ariane, and today I get to talk to actually two of my very, 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 very good friends, but also amazing businesswomen, Paola Villegas y Vanessa Birnbaum. This is like Latin crew over here. So if you guys hear some Spanglish coming out, you know, it's part of the vernacular. So welcome, ladies. How nice to have you.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Hi, Ari. We're happy to be here.
We love you.
Mutual. Well, first of all, do it again.
I didn't know that.
Hey. Your heart chakra is like well, first of all, you know, all of us here have been in the wellness industry for such a long time and in all such different aspects. So I want to take a moment to just get a little bit of your stories, each of you, because I think it's such a great example for people who are maybe starting in their journey or considering moving into, you know, health and wellness as more of a full-time. But I mean, we've been doing this for almost 20 years, if not already a couple of, you know, already 20 years. So we'll start with Paola. Tell us a little bit about you, and, you know, not only about you, but more about like your journey, you know, when you became a yoga teacher all the way to now that you're leading one of Miami's top teacher trainings for prenatal.
Thank you, Ari. Yes. Well, like 2005, 2006, I was like practicing consistently yoga and working as assistant of a developer. And I needed something else, needed to get out of the office. So I really started diving into it and start teaching some classes. It wasn't that much at that moment. It was a lot of work to start like offering. I started offering my teachers in the parks, in business, in buildings, and that's how I started actually, like in 2006-07, and then I started jumping into studios. And well, it was a long journey. I don't want to keep it that long, but I started teaching prenatal yoga at Sunny Isles in 2008-09, around that time, and I started getting really passionate about it. And there is not much prenatal teachers in the area. So for me, it was very good because I started like going everywhere and really diving into it and specializing and finding really my niche, really my passion. You know, I really started educating myself more and more as a doula and hypnobirthing educators, teaching childbirth. So really working closely in this wellness area, how to prepare the moms, empower women for this milestone in their life, right? So that's how I started. Now I start teaching in one tribe that is a place specifically for pre and postpartum for women. And then, well, we joined with Vane. We're going to tell more about it. In this, that it's been my dream for the last 3-4 years, and never really getting to write this teacher training and really put it out there. But finally, collaborating, it's my dream. Like I've been dreaming to really prepare more teachers, because women need the yoga in the pregnancy, like really, really something so important. So it's like a dream that I started like 4 or 5 years ago to prepare more teachers into this. So this short my story.
No, that's great, and I love it because you, even though you also teach vinyasa classes and they're amazing, you were a studio owner, you really like owned the prenatal space here in South Florida. I mean, you were my prenatal teacher, Vina's prenatal teacher, our
Yeah.
doula, and you barely have to promote yourself because now you get referrals. This is what I tell my students all the time, like find, like become a specialist, really dive into something and go so deep that your marketing is like easy because you're just referral. So congratulations.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. That's how it is. Yes, because imagine I'm part of many families. Like I'm
yeah,
in families like in the first baby, second baby, the baby is her sister. Like I keep having, like you say, these referrals. Like it's like that.
yay. All right, and now Vane.
Oh,
um,
beautiful. You're definitely part of my family.
I am.
Wow, my story. I've been trying to change how I tell my story because I've been in this industry for so long. I feel like the old story or how I used to tell my story is no longer uh, vigilant, is how you say it.
yeah, like
But I think my story in yoga started with my sister. I started taking her. She had scoliosis when she was little, so I was in charge of taking her to yoga. And that's how I started practicing yoga. And it wasn't that like a first love at first sight. How do you say
yeah,
that?
love at first sight.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was very slowly for me. But when I finally hit the milestone of 3, 4 classes a week, that's where my passion really started because I started feeling the yoga high. That sensation that never
No,
leaves
what
you.
is that?
That sensation that never leaves you, that is with you all the time, doesn't matter if you're on or off the mat.
Yes.
And I did my teacher training in 2012. And right away, I knew that my passion wasn't on the teaching itself, but on the industry.
Yeah.
So I developed a brand. It's called All You Can Yoga. It's an education empowerment for yoga teachers. So, what I do is I help yoga teachers build their curriculums. So, that's the partnership that we have here. I, I help yoga teachers finalize their dreams
Yeah.
because, like Paola said in her story, she's been dreaming of doing this for 3 years, 4 years. And when you're so good at doing your job, which is teaching, it's very, very hard to focus on the back end of
Yeah.
things in order to create an educational experience that actually teaches.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very different to teach a class than to prepare others for teaching a class.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's I think my specialty, what I've been specializing the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a passion of mine because, like I said, I'm not on the front end teaching the yoga so much, but my my dream of making yoga more accessible for everyone everywhere has been fulfilled in the hands of very, very powerful people like Paola and dozens of other teachers that I have helped over the years to create their studios and their schools, mostly
Their schools. Yeah.
their schools.
It's great. It's like to have the structure that I don't have. like I have the knowledge, I have the experience, I have, but like now we have the structure and the organization
Yeah.
to put it out there.
You girls like make my heart flutter because this is all I do. You're right. As a business coach, I'm always creating structures and frameworks for people so that they can live their dreams. So I love this conversation. The so there's a lot of trainings out there. Why would somebody? I mean, first of all, you want to have to work with pregnant women, obviously, but why should they consider a prenatal teacher training if that's not their, if they don't know much about it? Because it's very different working with, a woman who's pregnant, obviously, but even like through the emotions, through the physical, like there's a lot going on. So what has like made you guys create something that's maybe like just so appealing
Different.
for people?
So we thought about it, and our inspiration is just to teachers that are yoga instructors, but feel inspired to empower women,
Hmm.
in this special time of their life. So yeah, it's a special teacher training, not only to, of course, we're going to learn like physically how to modify the postures and mentally how to calm down, spiritually, yes, how to relax, but how to really feel empowered. Like this is such a special time in their life for women, right? For families, for the whole family. It's like the root, the base of the family of the. So, like really, in this teacher training, we want these teachers how to learn how to hold the space for this special time that is special for whole humanity, because how these babies coming into the world, how these women are going to be prepared to welcome these babies. So I think that's the difference, that we really want to make them learn how to hold that space, how to feel good. It's not just physically, but
Yeah.
the whole space for these women. They need empowerment, they need reconnection to the body, reconnection to the nature, you know. So that's why we want to learn so much. We want to teach so much more how to connect the body, how to connect to, it's a miracle, life itself is creation. So that's why it's so different. We really want to make it special, not only modifications.
Also, I want to add that for every yoga teacher out there that is really thinking of l- doing this as a full time job, yoga is my life, yoga, 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 I don't want to do anything else, I just want to make my money through my passion. Think about it. It's so frightening when you're going to teach your regular class in your regular studio, in your regular schedule, and out of nowhere, a pregnant woman comes,
Yes,
8 months pregnant, and they literally freak out.
yeah, sure.
They literally freak out.
Yeah.
So, this is something that every single yoga teacher should do
That's true.
just for that moment. Just for that moment. When a pregnant person comes, you know what to do. And you know how to deliver a class that is equally challenging for the rest of the people, but to not isolate that person with the typical, well, you know how to modify, you know what to do. No, teach the
No,
yoga. If you want to be a yoga teacher, teach the yoga.
for
and
everybody.
and this is what, well, some of what we are going to teach as well in this training.
Yeah, but
I love
also
it.
happen that when you have, maybe you are a regular a vinyasa teacher, a teacher, and then some of your students get pregnant, and maybe sometimes they
Yeah.
want to continue practicing with you. So you have tools. You already
Yeah.
have tools. Women get pregnant, so you don't have to say, "Oh no, now you go somewhere else." So it's
Yeah.
good for everybody too.
And
Hmm.
and what Vanessa said is so true. And also, coming from having led so many teacher trainings, I mean, the part of a 200 or a 300 hour that you do for pregnancy and modifications is like what, an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Like,
Probably.
there's not a lot of curriculum because you don't have the space for it in a 200. In 200, you're kind of doing your ABCs of how to be a yoga teacher. Now, what you guys are doing is creating a specialty, and like you said, it can be for that one moment, or it could be the doorway to being somebody like Paola that's just dedicating most of their profession to serving women in this beautiful place in their lives.
It's
So
the most humbling profession, I
I
believe.
agree. I
It's
agree.
beautiful.
Um,
You
I
have to
will
have the heart of this woman
Yeah.
in order
say
to do it
never
full
felt more
time.
No,
supported.
it's funny because when I had the studio in Sunny Isles in 2008, I had an amazing prenatal yoga teacher, but she moved to San Francisco. Couldn't
Oh,
find any yoga teacher in the
that's it.
area.
Yeah.
Couldn't. I was the owner of the studio. I have a lot of moms coming, and I was like, "What do I do with these moms?" So I say, "Okay, let me read some books," and I start teaching that class. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was a power vinyasa yoga, like I was on, and I was, "Oh my god, this is going to be so boring." But then just being in that class, and I think that moment, women are so connected. I really fall in love in that moment. So I
Oh.
started in my own studio teaching without any certification, just reading and trying to design some classes. And that's how I started really diving into it and learning about this. I fell in love with that time.
Oh,
Mm.
and it's funny, because Brandon, when you said the thing about like the pregnant woman walking into like, I remember that happening to me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. Like my whole like class plan just went out the window because of this one lady, and I don't know what to do with her. And then she was like, "Oh, I'm new," which was even worse. Like, "Oh, somebody said I should be doing yoga when I was pregnant," and
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
"Ah!"
Yeah, you're like,
it's
okay, not to my class, thank you.
it's so funny. Starting yoga and the pregnancy.
But now let's talk a little bit about the what it takes to put on a training, because I think this conversation is really beautiful. I'm a big fan of taking trainings. Like, I mean, who here who's not in the wellness, feel, or really if you're a professional and doing what you love, you're always wanting to be better at what you do. I
Mhm.
can attest to that. Like, I've spent probably enough to buy a house on continuing education. Um, but from idea, right? I want to lead a training. And maybe, Vina, this is a good one for you since you have so much of that structure. What are like the main things that somebody should consider when wanting to put out, whether it's a baseline 200-hour training or something as specific as this niche of prenatal, or maybe it's mantra. Like, there could be so many ways that we can package up your specific knowledge into trainings.
Well, the first thing is really to sit with yourself and answer two essential questions. One, do I feel ready? I don't know why I'm doing that. Do I feel ready? Do I feel ready? Because it's a big thing. It's not something to take up lightly. It will take up your time. It will consume you, right? It's like literally pregnancy and postpartum. And second, do I have the students? Because you have to have a trajectory before thinking that you can lead a training. You have to build up experience, you have to build up community, you have to build up your own trust in your teachings, your own method. Even though yoga is yoga, and you find the yoga teachings in all the books, yoga will not change the philosophy, but the way of teaching it is really unique to each one of us.
Yeah, what is your intention? Not like what you have to offer, put
Yeah,
out there that is unique and special.
also depends on what are your priorities. What do you prioritize within the yoga philosophy, within the asana, within the pranayama, within the energetics. What is so it takes time. It takes time to really build that foundation. It's something that comes from within. And I think Paola is the perfect example, because she has been, brewing this idea inside of herself, that when she first came to me and said, okay, I'm ready, it's not like, okay, I'm ready. No, I'm ready. So it was really easy for her, with my structure, to sit down and write. It's not like something that you have to, I don't know, it's not magic. It's not like I take from here, from here, from here. No, it's something that, okay, this is the foundation, this is how we will lay it. And it's just like filling the blanks, because you have the experience already built. And I think those are the two first things to consider, right? Am I ready? Do I know how my own classes are structured? Can I talk about it? Can I tell you how my class is structured? Can I tell you exactly what I want to teach? Okay, do I have a community of students ready, asking for me to do this? Then yes, because it is an investment of money, investment of time. So it's the number one stream of income for any yoga professional. Trainings.
Yeah.
It's not the same to charge $30 per class than 1,800 for an 85-hour training. So it's a high ticket. And with high ticket prices comes higher responsibilities. So it is lucrative. You will see more money than you have ever seen in your yoga profession, but it's also something not to be taken lightly.
I was going to say that you're basically passing on the baton of who you are, your structure, your frameworks, your unique spin on things. And as much as I don't like to say this, in the beginning, you're creating mini yous who then find their own voice, who then find their own, right, their own magic that they get to add, their own salsita, their own sauce into the practice. But one thing I can close my eyes and look at when I had my studio, and probably Pao, you as well, that when you had a teacher training, it was like whoosh, huge revenue spikes.
Yeah.
And it was almost like if you didn't have a training, you were,
drowning.
It's
out.
difficult to survive, yes.
Yeah. Because it's true. And that's why I love teaching, people who work with me in general. But like, if you have the capacity, like, consider adding a certification process into how you do things, because it's almost like the next logical step in your journey also as a professional, right? It's how now you're being perceived as a leader, and how you're being
here comes the other side. Like, who needs more yoga teachers out there? Well, guess what? The world. The world, because only 5% of these people who graduate will likely go and set up a career and teach full time. 5%.
Yes.
The majority of them will
stop eventually. Yeah.
Will stop eventually, but will
but they'll
have the tools
the
for their
learnings
life.
will stay with them. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a life-changing experience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a tool for everything for life.
So now I want to talk about your training. So what's the name of the training? It's not just prenatal training. It's
blissful prenatal training. It's blissful time.
It's blissful. So let's say I'm a yoga teacher. Do I have to be a yoga teacher to take your training, or I can be a mommy that wants to, do this or a teach? Like, what are the requirements for me to join this training?
It has to be a solid practitioner, not a beginner as a yoga in the yoga world. Yoga teachers and a solid practice. And if it doesn't have the certificate, but yes, a solid practice, because it needs to know poses, and it has to feel the yoga, has to really be involved in the yoga. So that's
Like,
the only requirement.
can a doula take this training to support her
If you
client?
practice yoga, yes. It has to practice yoga. It's
Have to
important.
practice yoga.
It has to practice, yes. Physical therapy too. It's also open for physical therapy. But connection to the body. Someone that knows body, know how to move the body, understand the breath. So yes, it has to have a practice or personal trainers. Yes, it's for that people.
Okay, that's good because it's, again, this is, if you guys are thinking of creating some sort of curriculum, it's kind of important to have who this is for, who this isn't for, and I talk about sales pages and marketing material, and we're not going to get into that today. You guys can come check out my webinars and things, but what I want to also know is the concept of what happens after. So I take your training. I now have a certification to teach prenatal yoga. Do you girls support, like, is there going to be a community that you're building? Because knowing Vane, I'm like, of course, you're like the community queen. Like, how does somebody start their business talking about, I'm going to be a prenatal yoga teacher? What's the support that you give people afterwards?
Well, we are partnering with One Tribe, and One Tribe is this new gorgeous
Amazing.
space
Yes.
that is only for women, pre and postpartum. So they are always in need of yoga teachers that know and specialize in prenatal yoga. So that's a beautiful starting point, because when they graduate, they can start subbing for us. We teach there.
Exactly. They can observe classes there. We are already partnering with them, so it's going to be a requirement to observe classes, and we have the space where they can go and there and observe and take notes, and so start getting more and more involved. Yeah, so that's a good partnership with them.
So this training is mainly because you said it's 85 hours. So is it for like pretty much South Florida area right now? But I know, Pao, you were telling me that you were going to Rome and that, Venezuela potentially. So we can expect the Blissful Yoga prenatal teacher training to be widely available, I'm guessing. In the next year.
Hopefully.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the idea. That's the idea. Travel the world.
I love it.
A lot of studios are needing prenatal.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's kind of like a next logical step for any yoga teacher is to now create specialties and continuing education. You want to be a well-rounded instructor. If like, even if you're listening to this and you don't want to specify like, oh, I'm going to be only, working in the prenatal area, like you should still be informed for your growth and professionalism. So it's a no-brainer. What we'll do is in the show notes, we'll put the links to their website and all the information so you guys can check it out there. And then also the social media from Paola and from Vanessa, so that you guys can follow them as well. And one last thing that I would love for you each to just very briefly, what would you say is your, like, if you had one wish for this training, how it's going to impact others after they've taken it, what would you say that is?
Oh.
I know. It's a little deep, but
So impact the students that take it. so that they feel inspired to share, inspired to, I don't know, what a question.
I know, but it's like I just felt like this conversation was so much about like nurturing, and so I want to
Yes.
like leave everybody at least with like a like almost like a sankalpa, you know, that you girls are leaving them with. Um,
For me, is to increase the capacity to cope with the changes, the hormonal changes of the moms, the physical changes of the mom, the emotional roller coaster of pregnancy and beyond. And they also increase the capacity of the yoga teacher to know how to handle, to
Mm.
know how to serve better, to be more professional.
Also, yoga teachers can see through this training how yoga really can change the world and can change every and each person in all senses, in all aspects of life, in all moments of life.
yeah, see, I knew it. I knew there was something, a nice message that we could close the podcast with. Well, my beautiful friends, I love you both so much. Thank you for being here.
Me
When is
too.
the training?
I want to do that hard too.
I don't think I can do it. Oh,
It's okay.
Yeah,
You're
I,
hard.
I
now that I
know.
thought about it, I don't. Apparently, I don't have this magic today. I'm okay with
When
that.
is the training? The
When is
training
the
is September. September
September?
5. Yes. We
Okay.
have 2 weekends immersion. We can put
Okay.
it on the notes. So it's going to be immersion Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we have a break and then another
Okay.
weekend
Perfect.
immersion.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's the first and third weekends
Of
of
September.
September.
Okay. All right. So if you uh, want to get in on this training, go talk to these girls immediately and
Yes.
start your journey into the blissful prenatal teacher that you can be.
Yes.
All right. Mwah. I love you,
Thank
girls.
you,
Thank
Ari.
you.
Bye now.
Bye.